told you that our first speaker would come up, and I'm so excited. I had a great opportunity to read KAITY Morreira. She came to my home, came to my studio at home. We recorded a radio program. It's on our archive messages. I invite you to go back and listen to that. But today you have her here live to speak to us, to tell us more about how we can grow our businesses from connecting the dots, as she told me before, in Brandon. Basically, she's the founding and principal of Style Up. A former New York City yoga teacher, KAITY founded Style Up to merge style and fashion with joyous living and personal transformation. She is known for her attention to detail, high standards, and demand for quality. She's the author of the forthcoming book, Your Style, Your Brand, Your Life. 8 Secrets to Success from the Inside Out. Her work includes style and fashion shows and photo shoots, in addition to her private clientele. Welcome, KAITY Morreira.
Thank you so much, Beth. And was that a great devotional on branding or what? That is fantastic. This lady is absolutely fabulous. She had me on her radio show before. We talked about branding. We talked about God's image. And there was just such energy, such movement in that room that we figured we had to do something together. And that is the reason that I am here today. So thank you, Beth. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm really excited to be here and talk to you about branding today. I'm going to pass these around. You can take one. So we're here to talk about branding and also about your personal image. And I thought I'd start off by just talking about what is branding. Because branding tends to be kind of the buzzword these days. We hear a lot about, back in the day it was advertising, that new thing, then it was marketing, and now it's all about branding. Okay, but to actually do branding and to do it well, you have to understand what it is and how you go about it. So let's start and talk about branding. So what is branding? I'm going to take some examples and then you can tell me what you think of those businesses. So what do you think of when I say McDonald's? And you can just call them out.
Fast food.
Fast food. What else? Golden Arch. French fries. Good. Happiness, anyone? McDonald's. Little smile. Happy Meal. Okay, great. How about Walmart? Value? Less? Superstore. Okay. All right. Great. Tiffany's. Diamonds, bling. Classy. Expensive. Right? Quality. All right. Did you know that people will pay almost 50% more for the same necklace if it's at Tiffany's versus Walmart?
Yes.
Why? Because they have a brand. All right. So branding really exists in how people feel about you. Okay? So we went through these examples, and branding exists in people's mind. It's their idea about you. Notice I didn't say what the businesses did, what they do, or what they look like, but you all had an idea of that business. There was a definite place in your mind. So companies spend millions of dollars every year, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars, to occupy a certain space in your mind.
Awesome.
So when you say cheap, or you say a bargain, or you say superstore, I know I'm going to Walmart. Or if you want those diamonds, you want that bling, big ticket item, I'm going to Tiffany's. Tie it with a big blue bow, please. Right? So branding is people's idea of you. So when branding is done right, you have a brand idea. That's what the companies call it, that concept, that theme that they want to implant in people's mind, and they want to make that brand idea the people's idea. Does that make sense? So when you do branding as a business owner or an entrepreneur or even as yourself, you want your concept to reach those people out there. Right? So your brand idea has to, at the end of the day, get into people's minds. But there's a problem, right? Because you're not in people's minds. I might want 1,000 clients, but I'm not sure how I can get into their minds. I can't pick up the phone and call my clients and say, hello, I am KAITY, and I want you to think of me as absolutely fantastic. Yes, every time you think of me, I will be absolutely fantastic, okay? So if anyone says absolutely fantastic, you're going to say, oh, yeah, that's Katie's business, right? So it doesn't quite work that way. So we have a missing piece. We have something in the middle that translates that brand idea into the message, into the client's mind. So what is that piece? It's called the brand touch points. Has anyone heard of touch points before? Okay, those touch points are the places where your brand is going to interact with the client. So if you have a company, maybe the person's not going to deal with you directly, but they are going to look at your touch points. So examples of these could be your website, they could be your logo, or your business card, right? Maybe someone gets a business card because someone referred you. They're not in touch with your business, but that's the first thing that they see about your business. Their impression of your business is going to be based on that business card. Or your image. What if you're at a networking event like we all are today, right? So people are going to look at you, and if you say, oh, I am Joy with new services for businesses, then people are going to say, okay, I guess I'm going to remember that Joy has new services for businesses. Also, what you do and how you do it, right? Have any of us had a bad customer service experience? Right? You remember that and you associate that with a brand. So at any point, you might have what you do in mind, but if how you do it is not that great, or you mess up, or you drop the ball on some point, people are going to remember that, and guess what? Sorry, that's where you're stuck in people's minds. So these are all the touch points, and there are actually many, many more, really. You can think of them with your imagination, or you can also go through your own business. Each business is a little bit different, but a branding expert or a business consultant can help you identify your particular touch points and how best you can work with those and your business. Okay. So also a good point to note, those touch points have to be consistent. Right? Have any of you been to a networking event and you get this business card and you're like, I've seen this before. It's on Vistaprint. I think I have 5 of them exactly like it. And what do you do again? Right? And then you go to their website and it looks completely different. And you're like, wait a second. Who is this person? Who is this brand? Well, Jill was nice in person, and then her business card looks like this, and her website looks like something different. If you do that, you're basically confusing your clients, and you're losing an opportunity. So the way to have good branding and really, again, get that piece in people's minds is to be consistent. That means across the board, everything has to have the same message. Let's take an example of one of our very well-known companies, Starbucks Coffee. Now, Starbucks has a specific team of branding experts. They also hire the industry's top consultants to sit in a room and talk about their brand idea and their concept and how it's going to play out in all the aspects of their business. So you don't see that, but this is what you do see, right? You look at the Starbucks outside, and it's nice and cozy. It has green and brown shaped outside. You go in and they have comfy chairs, they have music playing, maybe some indie CDs there. You have a barista that's going to greet you with a smile and say, how would you like your special cup of coffee? Welcome to Starbucks, right? And there's a smile and there's that logo and they're in the green uniform. You can also order coffee and go online with their app. They have branded cups. Their website is also full of that laughter, through that joy, through that special intimate touch, right? And you'll see the logo everywhere. So you'll notice that also when companies have a very consistent brand, it comes across as an experience, right? You go in and you get like a feeling. Like I bet all of you in your mind right now, if you imagine walking into a Starbucks, you get a feeling like you're in Starbucks, right? That's what they pay consultants thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do. But then they own that, right? You can't mimic that. You might buy a can of coffee at the grocery store, but it's definitely not Starbucks. Let's take another example of another company with fabulous branding, which is Apple, right? And if you look, it's definitely a different visual aspect as well. They're very clean, sleek technology, high-end, innovative. They have their Genius bar. They have everything on display in an open store environment, very knowledgeable, again, innovative, futuristic. These are things that Steve Jobs worked on and that Apple also incorporates as part of its brand. You're going to pay more money for a Mac because it looks like that than a Windows, right? And you know that the Mac is not the same as your Windows, right? There's a difference. So again, they've occupied a space in your mind that enables them to charge more for their product. All right, so we talked about branding, and this is about branding and your image. So how does branding relate to your image? Well, let's take an example here. One entrepreneur. Does anyone know who this entrepreneur is? You know? Lisa Price. All right, but if you take a look at her, from her image top to bottom, she has a beautiful natural curls, nice bright smile, neutral colors, the khaki, maybe a little bit adventurous with that safari jacket. Oh, so belted, so you say she has a sense of adventure. She's very natural, very bright, joyful, crisp, and clean, right? Are you following me here? You see where I'm going with this? So she's an entrepreneur, and you might meet her on the street, but she also has a business. Now let's take a look at her business and her brand. Her brand is called Carol's Daughter. Has everyone here heard of Carol's Daughter? So it started out as a small business in her kitchen. She made things by hand. She put them together, all natural ingredients, and then it became a national brand. And now she has celebrity investors, she has a national brand, but she still hasn't lost that idea of that it's something that she could create. I mean, look at the writing. It's very handwritten, crafted. Everything smells good, almond cookie. Oh, that's something I could have in my kitchen, right? Wash your way to dream curls. So you get the feeling like it's homey, it's natural. It still has that intimacy. So these are the products that she's created, and you'll see how they really create a consistent brand. So now take a look. So we have Lisa and we have her brand, and they could talk to each other, right? She looks like someone who could use her products. She looks like she could be a brand ambassador, or if she went to a meeting, she could easily represent her business. So now it comes to you. You have to think about, well, does your image really reflect your brand? So say this is you, and whoever you are, whatever way you're dressed, what you put on when you go to work or you go to your office, or even when you pick up the phone, right? How you interact with your clients, the people that want to do business with you. And then you have all your materials. You might have your business cards, you have your website, you have all those touch points that we talked about. Are they speaking to each other, right? Are they consistent? And then also, are they sending the same message, right? Because you want to have that same message, that same concept coming through to your audience. All right, so I'd like to finish with a couple of examples of before and after, really talking about an image and how it relates to people's brand. So we have a nice tech entrepreneur, which is the very popular Silicon Valley look t-shirt and hoodie, which before Mark Zuckerberg made it kind of popular, you know, you'd look at this guy and think he was still in college, maybe ordered pizza and beer at night. So it's not very thought out, it's nothing special about it, you don't know, maybe he's smart, maybe he's not. He's not very put together, not very clean shaven, and the clothes are definitely not age appropriate. So if this guy had a tech company, you probably would have no idea what it was or if it was successful or not, right? Would you, if he asked you to invest in his company, what would you say? Right? You're like, are you sure you're not going to just like go play video games? All right, so here's a nice after picture, and this is the same entrepreneur. Believe it or not, he is a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, and this is after he made his millions of dollars in his company. So he really made it a makeover, and also business owners who are successful, they tend to, when they reach that certain level, they make it a priority because they realize how important their image is in defining that and keeping that money flowing. So you'll notice that his appearance is intentional. It's tailored, detail-oriented. He has some nice fabrics going on, some construction. Everything is well-fitted, age-appropriate. He looks like an adult now. And also the leadership ability is apparent, which is very important, especially if you're growing a business, if you want people to trust you, or you're leading a team, building a team. You need to look like you're going to be able to lead, and people should be able to follow you. And let me take the second example, and this is someone I actually met, not the person in the picture, but I did actually meet a life coach who worked specifically with athletes. Okay, so it's an interesting business. We meet a lot of people who are business coaches or life coaches, but she had a particular niche for working with athletes. However, the appearance did not really reflect that. And so the hair and makeup is not done, the colors are uninspiring, kind of unkempt, and the outfit doesn't really stand out. I mean, if you took this picture just by itself, she could be an intern, she could be working in a library, or an assistant, or a student, but you have really no idea. The outfit is not speaking anything about what she does. So that is such an opportunity loss. If she showed up at a branding event like this, no one's going to know what she does, right? And then I'm just also going to remind you that these are extreme examples. So, so number two, here's an after, and this is what I suggested to this particular coach, is that you're working with athletes, right? Sports is such a big thing. You want to look like you're powerful, like you're a risk taker, you're assertive. To play in that industry, you do have to look powerful. So you need bold colors, something that's really going to stand out. High contrast. Think of watching ESPN or looking at a referee or a football player. Notice how they always have high contrast, like red, white, black. Those are sports colors. So now if you look at someone that has this type of outfit that has the red, the white, the blue, that could speak to you and say, oh yeah, she works with athletes, she works in the sport industry. So also when you're branding, you can be very industry specific and have details that nod to what you're doing and the particular niche that you're working in. All right, so lastly, we have some real life examples. I have some goodie bags. I'd like to ask a few members of the audience to stand up and tell me what you do. And I'd like to pick you in the black and white. Yes, you're up. I'll start with you. So you can stand up and tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm not prepared for this. Alrighty. Well, my name is Guillermina Osoria Cole. They call me Gigi for short.
Okay.
And I do several things in the community, but my business is health insurance.
Okay.
And I have two niches: the senior market,
Mm-hmm.
and then now the individual and small businesses.
Okay. Excellent. So thank you. And I wanted to point out that I noticed her jewelry, right? Because it stands out. It's calling to attention to yourself. So an example is if you're working in sales or you're looking like you create wealth for your clients, it's a good idea to have jewelry, a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of bling. So thank you. You get a gift. And let me take one volunteer. I'm looking at you, sir. I'm so curious. I know, I picked the ones that are trying to like hide.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Julie Skeet. I'm Dr. Skeet from the practice, Dr. Skeet Associate. I'm an optometrist, and my practice is located inside the Lens Crafters in Gwinnett Place Mall. I'm also a proud member of GCBN for 3 years.
Woo!
Maybe I just like to say to everybody, even if you don't come to my practice, we just want to make sure everybody has their eyes examined once a year. Anything could I help?
All right, fantastic. Now see how he has his wonderful pair of glasses. All right. And if you look at the color scheme as well, they actually go, his outfit goes with his glasses. And he's very well dressed, so he looks like a professional.
And my
Yes.
wife dresses me, so
Even better. Thank you, sir. Do you have time for questions? Okay, I will take a couple questions. Do you have any questions about branding in your business? Did I just blow you away with information?
No,
Yes.
I mean, it's interesting because you know, we do so many different things in the community, not only with selling health insurance, but we volunteer and we work a lot with the older adult. And I never thought that your clothes reflects your business. And we deal with a lot of older adults, so I always tend to dress down so that I could relate to them and not feel, so they don't feel threatened, they could feel the trust. So I don't wear heels or suits or anything. I try to keep myself humble when I'm around the older adult. But now when I go to network event, I still tend to continue doing that. So it was an eye-opening to see what you did with the before and after. So thank you for sharing that.
And that's fantastic. What she said had a great point in that, you know, what you're wearing can also vary depending on your situation. If you're trying if you're trying to connect with someone, maybe, you know, she's working with elderly people, she doesn't have to dress to the nines, but if she's showing off maybe her business, she does that. Another example is, say, if in employee environments, say you're in a business meeting, if you're the leader of the meeting, you can wear bold colors or assertive colors like red and orange, but if you're actually participating in the meeting, you don't want to wear those colors because you don't want to look like you're trying to be the leader. So there are different colors to be wearing in certain situations, whether you're the one presenting or leading, or you're trying to look like you're following, you're creating that group, community, or energy. That's a great point. Yes?
Maybe I'm just interested in how did you transform from a yoga to image marketing?
I mean, it's a long story, but I basically, in yoga, I worked a lot with helping people become more in touch with themselves, more confident. When people were doing the yoga, they felt healthier, and then they also felt like they had more awareness and ability to create change in their lives. And fashion was always something that I was interested in, and I feel like it's really, I felt like there was a missing piece in fashion because so many people associate it with being superficial or just buying to excess or doing too much. But I really wanted to show how clothes and image can be used to help people feel beautiful from the inside out. Yeah. And last question.
I am in the service industry. I'm a Mary Kay Cosmetics, independent business. And when I think about branding, and when people think about Mary Kay, they think about makeup, beauty. So you have to always be together. And sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. And I just, you know, I do make sure I have myself together every time I go out. But sometimes I want to wear sweats. I want to put on gym shoes. But it's like when I'm dressed down, I don't want to go to someone and give them my business card because I don't feel like I'm in my right element. And it kind of like, how do you...
I mean, well, okay, two things. I mean, number one, you don't have to be on all the time. And I see that too as a stylist. Like, I know, right? You know, there's some days that I don't want to do like the hair and the makeup and everything, but sometimes I'm working from home. And I think it's kind of a choice for you, whether every time you want to go out from the house, you want to be prospecting, or maybe to spending certain days or selecting certain times that you say, you know what, today I'm going to be that beautiful on Mary Kay person, but then tomorrow I just need to run an errand here and I'll put on my hoodie and my sunglasses like a celebrity and go, you know, and I think that's okay. I use like a hat. It's great. All right. And Beth, yes, one more.
I love when we were on the radio, and I asked you just impromptu when we were winging it at one point to give a tip to the listeners. Do you remember that tip?
No.
Okay, I'm going to help you because it was really insightful for me. It was about the closet, and I went and reevaluated my closet. But tell them.
Okay, I have to tell you the tip. Okay, so she said, what is one tip that you can share with people from your image consulting? And I go to clients' houses and I do a wardrobe edit. So I come in, I know it's crazy, I go to people's closets and go through things and kind of pull out and see what what fits, what doesn't fit, what's serving you, what's not serving you. And a rule of thumb is that what you are wearing should reflect what you're doing in your week. So, for example, if you spend 60% of your time, maybe 70% of your time working, and then 30% of your time you spend at home, and then 10% of the time you spend at the gym, then 60-70% of your clothes should be work clothes. 30% of your, and this doesn't add up to 100, so sorry guys. You get the point. So 20%, let's see, so we got 70, 20, and 30. 70% of your wardrobe should be for work, 20% is for your free time, and then 10% should be for the gym. So you can use that, say if you're having different things going on in your life, that's a good aspect of it to emphasize. So if you have different jobs or different roles you have to play, maybe special occasions or an office, like a very corporate versus more of a creative corporate, you can look at your week schedule, what the hours you spend on the average week, and then design your closet and the amount of clothes you have accordingly, and then you'll be able to always have something to wear, basically. Yeah. All right, so thank you so much, and thank you, Beth, for having me.
I know you probably have these, but the Lord laid it on my heart to share with you a new Bible.
Wow.
And I got you the NIV version.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate you. We value you. I'm telling you, Katie is really on a level that GCBN have been graced with your presence, and we sincerely appreciate
Thank you
your
so
coming,
much,
okay?
Beth.
Awesome. Awesome. Did you enjoy that? Let's see.